Hi, it's Dot, and today in my low-carb kitchen, I'm stocking up on a great pantry item I like to make, dried cranberries. Perfect for your Thanksgiving Day stuffing, to top salads, or just simply for you to snack on. Now you can use either frozen or fresh cranberries, that's completely up to you, but if you use frozen, you do want them thawed out. What I've already done is washed and I started picking through my cranberries because what you want to make sure of, you don't want any of them that are sort of misshapen, brown, or punctured. You don't want to work with them at all, so they're not really worth your time. What I do is after I wash them, I put them on paper towels and I just take another paper towel and I just gently rub on top of them just to help dry them off. I want them just as dry as I possibly can get them before I start adding my other ingredients, before they go into the oven. I've already picked through these, so I'm going to go ahead and put them in a bowl and I'm going to start prepping them for the oven next. All right, the next thing I like to do is just cut my cranberries in half. So I'll show you how, just easy, right down the middle, like that. Just real simple. It seems like with this big bowl, oh my God, it's going to take a long time. But I'm showing you right now how I do it. I pretty much zip right through it. You just obviously have a knife, you want to be careful as you're cutting. But you just want to cut them in half. It just makes it easier for them to cook or to dry out in the oven. All right, I have the cranberries all cut. Now I will say this, if you don't want to cut the cranberries, you certainly can just cook them on the stovetop instead and let them burst. You would add your sugar to the pan when you're doing it, or your sweetener, I should say. However, I don't do that simply because it tends to take longer for them to actually dry out in the oven. And we're talking about 6, 7, 8 hours in some cases, depending on how juicy the cranberries are. So I just like to do it this way. It just seems to go easier and quicker for me. So we're looking at total cooking time in the oven about 2.5, 3 hours roughly. So it cuts the time at least, definitely in half, if not more than in half. So with that, what I'm doing is I'm only going to add about 2 tablespoons of a sweetener, and I'm using Swerve. That's my sweetener of choice for low-carb baking and cooking. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there. And then you want a neutral oil on the berries. You don't want them to fry up in there, but you also don't want them to be sticking together or anything like that. So I'm just going to add, I'm doing a very light olive oil. Has a little bit of an olive oil taste to it, but it shouldn't really be to the detriment of the cranberries. It'll still have that cranberry taste. You want a very neutral tasting oil, so grapeseed oil is a good one to use if you happen to have that. I don't happen to have that in my house at the moment, so I'll do that. And what I'm going to do is just mix everything together, all the cranberries together. It doesn't matter if they get a little smushed. They're going to be getting smushed when they're baking. They're going to be basically popping a little bit more. And again, I'm not using that much sweetener because they are supposed to be tart. And the other thing to keep in mind, as far as why make them yourselves, just to give you an example, they tend to be over flavored with sugar if you buy craisins or something like that. A tablespoon of craisins, of the dried cranberries you get from the store, is over 6 grams of carbs. These are under 4 grams when I'm making, so seems to be a better deal. So with that, I've already gone ahead and taken a rim baking sheet. I lined it with parchment paper. And all I'm going to do is take the cranberries and I'm going to go ahead, this mixture, and just pour them onto the pan. That's it, pretty much. And then just spread them out. You want them in a single layer as much as possible. You don't want them really overlapping. Doesn't matter if they're touching each other, simply because you'll be able to pull them apart once they're dry anyway. Now my oven is already preheated. It's at 200 degrees. And they're going to be in there, like I said, for about 2.5, 3 hours. When I have them in the oven, every so often I check on them, and then I may go ahead and give them a quick stir because you sort of want them to dry evenly. That's part of it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get these guys in the oven. In about 3 hours, I'm going to have something tasty come out. Cranberries took less than 3 hours. That was great. So about 2.5 hours roughly, somewhere around there. I let them cool for about a half hour, 45 minutes, and I have basically a little more than a cup worth of dried cranberries. They absolutely smell delicious, they look awesome, and I'm gonna have to just sample one real quick. I'll take it. This guy right here. I'd say they're better than craisins because they don't have as much sweetness, even though they're tart. It has nice tartness, but not overwhelmingly tart like just a regular cranberry would have. It tastes like a cranberry. I have a little bit of the crunch because I changed the elevation of the berries in the stove so that they dried a little bit faster. I have a little bit of a crunch to them rather than just complete softness. But, oh wow, these are so good. They're delicious. My mouth is watering. So I don't want to just devour these. I'm going to put these in the refrigerator in a jar that has a nice seal on it. They're going to stay in the fridge. They can. You want to make sure they don't get mold on them, which is why you dry them out. And it probably can last anywhere from 2 weeks to a month, I'd say. And so I've seen people online talk about how they've been able to preserve them a lot longer than that. The thing is, because you're not using real sugar, which helps preserve fruit, especially when you dry it out. Whereas when you use the low carb sweeteners, it doesn't really have the preservative quality, because the idea is it's more of a natural sweetener. You're not adding a whole lot of junk to it. This is a nice treat. You can use it for trail mix. You can use it for your upcoming stuffing you're going to make for Thanksgiving. You can put it on salads or just as a little snack on the go. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. I hope you try making them. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, share with your friends. That's really important, because we really want to spread the word of how eating healthy and making your own foods can help you regain your health and lose weight. So with that, I'll see you next time.